Manchester City have a top player in the making, and he's doing three things to raise excitement levels. Sverre Nypan has impressed at Middlesbrough. Having joined the Championship club on loan from Manchester City this summer, Sverre Nypan was one of the most talked about talents in Europe this summer. The Norwegian prospect had been linked with most of the top clubs across the continent, having starred for Rosenborg in his homeland. Excitement levels have surrounded the 18-year-old since he made his senior debut aged just 14, and it was Manchester City who swooped to win the race for his signature. The plan was always for him to depart on loan, and City wanted a British destination to help the midfielder adapt to football on these shores. A move to Middlesbrough was agreed, and Nypan has since featured 7 times for Rob Edwards' side in what has been a strong start to the season for Boro. We spoke to Teesside Live's Middlesbrough reporter Craig Johns for the lowdown on Nypan and what City can expect in the future, with the teenager already displaying a strong work ethic, elite mentality, and a desire not to shirk situations. Reasonably well so far, albeit in an attack that isn't quite functioning as well as they'd hope at the moment. Nypan was one of 4 new attacking players who arrived at the club this summer, and as a result, they're all still lacking that connection at the moment, while all also getting up to speed with the English game, because they've all come from leagues abroad. Nypan obviously via a quick whistle stop in Manchester. In many ways, Rob Edwards is still learning each of his new attacking players too, and how Boro can set up and play in a manner that will get the best out of them. To Nypan's credit though, he's not shirked anything yet, and looks to get involved in games as much as he possibly can, whether that's starting or coming on from the bench. Edwards is a coach who likes to change a lot in game too, so for such a young player, he's reacted well when perhaps starting as a 10, and then being switched to a more standard central midfield role, or vice versa. He's still trying to get up to speed, as are Boro, from an attacking sense in general. As such, he's yet to really stand tall and have a major influence on a game as yet. Nevertheless, there have been flashes of his potential and technical ability to offer enough encouragement that it will come. What's been so clear so far is that he's a very good player, and one who has a very good mentality too. Playing in England for the first time at just 18, Nypan has never once looked daunted. He works as hard for the team out of possession as he does on the ball. For many of the reasons noted above, he hasn't yet been able to make a huge impact and really take control and influence games or provide any big moments. It's in doing one or the other that will ultimately usually determine if a midfielder/attacking midfielder can make it at the very highest level. He's young, and you'd hope that will come as he adapts to his surroundings, and his coaches and teammates pinpoint how to get the best out of him also. It was always felt there might need to be a little patience. But what he's already shown is that he has the ability, and he also has the mindset. Manchester City set new target as fixture schedule finally works to their favour. Manchester City enjoyed a good run between the September and October international break, and they can look to the same again over the next month. The staccato rhythm of the early weeks of the Premier League season can be frustrating for fans and can make storylines hard to follow, with a run of games interrupted by an international break in September, October and November. What the breaks do allow, however, are a chance to analyse and maybe over-analyse how a team has started and debate what might be going right or wrong. But conclusions drawn in September can look foolish by October, and for Manchester City, that has certainly been the case this season. When they lost to Tottenham and Brighton before the first international break of the season, there was concern that this was going to be a lot like last year, and that a title challenge already felt a distant dream. That 2-week pause allowed a chance to reset, and when the action resumed, City won the Manchester derby 3-0 to start a run of 7 games that produced 5 wins and 2 draws. Now, they feel like genuine contenders once again. You could argue City have been robbed of momentum with this latest stoppage of domestic action, but for a new team still learning the ropes under Pep Guardiola, it might also do them some good. There is no denying they took some giant strides forward in the last 3 weeks, bookended by wins against Manchester United and Brentford. After the introspection and worry in September, the picture is a lot more optimistic. The bite-sized schedule at this stage of the season also allows for easy targets to be set. After wins against United and Napoli and a draw at Arsenal, it became obvious that the Blues' aim was to go unbeaten during this stretch of games. With 7 more fixtures to come before the November internationals, the target should be to repeat that, especially as 4 of those games are at the Etihad. Guardiola's side will be strong favourites to beat Everton this weekend. They then have a trio of away games against Villarreal, Aston Villa and Swansea City. None should hold much fear at the moment. Then the stretch ends with 3 successive home games against Bournemouth, Borussia Dortmund and Liverpool. The contest against Arne Slot's side looks like the biggest fixture of the 7, but Liverpool have had the opposite sequence to City, where optimism has given way to scrutiny from September to October. If City can head into the November international break, having again managed to go 7 games unbeaten, and perhaps inflicting a defeat on their title rivals in the process, then the outlook will be very promising indeed. Manchester City, biggest England win this week, came 1,600 miles from Wembley. Manchester City saw John Stones play for England on Thursday night, but there were other success stories elsewhere. Goodness knows why the tens of thousands who had paid through the nose for tickets did not scream their lungs out for every minute of England's one-sided victory over Wales, but Thomas Tuchel had plenty to be happy with otherwise. The drama around him leaving star players out of his squad was quickly forgotten, as the team he did pick pummeled Wales in the opening 20 minutes. Manchester City would rather have Phil Foden have been included, and would rather Nico O'Reilly made it onto the pitch after his first call-up following the Brentford game. They will have taken satisfaction from John Stones playing and escaping without an injury, particularly after that dicey moment where he went down and looked to be in pain. City's biggest England win of the week, though, came not at Wembley but about 1,600 miles away. It was in the Zimbru Stadium in the Moldovan capital of Chisinau, where Lee Carsley's England under-21s picked up a healthy 4-0 win. Rico Lewis scored in an encouraging display for him after falling out of favour with Guardiola in the early months of the season, while young forward Divin Mubama bagged 2. Mubama has had a decent start to life on loan at Stoke, where City will be keeping an eye on him. With Chelsea winger Jamie Gittins getting the opener after his £48.5 million move from Dortmund in the summer transfer window, all 3 goal scorers, as well as the coach, have been developed in at least some of their career in City's academy. Gittins spent a few years at the club. Mubama had already made his West Ham debut when he was signed last year, but played most of his minutes for the under-20s, and Lewis is a lifer at the Etihad. Just as they like to be represented at senior level, City like to know they have some of the most promising English talent on their books. Lewis has taken the path to Pep Guardiola's first team, but even if not all can follow it, bodes well for City's recruitment and their coaching to have so many links in the England youth setup. The same can be said for the senior team. James Trafford, O'Reilly and Stones are the City contingent in the most recent squad, but Morgan Rogers and Cole Palmer have also flourished for the 3 Lions after moving on from the Etihad. Homegrown talent has become particularly important in the English game as a result of the spending rules brought in by the Premier League to protect teams. City have made hundreds of millions of pounds in recent years from selling academy players, as well as bringing Lewis, O'Reilly, Oscar Bob and others through into their first team. 2 Manchester City teenagers might be competing for one place in Pep Guardiola's squad. Manchester City have 2 teenage centre-backs out on loan this season, and there could be room in the squad for one of them next season. Oumar Ba and Vitor Rice arrived at Manchester City in the same window earlier this year, and although both are now playing their football away from the Etihad, they could have an eye on making Pep Guardiola's squad for next season. The 2 19-year-old centre-backs are only 3 months apart in age, and both are enjoying productive loan spells in a Big 5 league this season. They are the 2 star names of a cohort of young defenders looking to make an impression at City. Ba joined from Real Valladolid for £5.2 million after a meteoric rise, playing just 13 games for the La Liga outfit in the first half of last season before City swooped for the Sierra Leone International. He is yet to get a chance at his parent club, spending the second half of last season on loan at Lens before moving to Nice this summer. Ba also had interest from Lyon, as well as clubs in England, which shows the potential that many clubs in Europe believe he has. He played the full game in both legs of Nice's Champions League, 3rd qualifying round defeat to Benfica, and has done the same in their first 2 Europa League outings against Roma and Fenerbahce. He has also played 5 times in League One, although he has missed the last 2 domestic fixtures. Reis did get a taste of life at City after his £29.6 million move from Palmeiras. He has made 4 appearances for the club and played the full game against Wydad AC at the start of the Club World Cup in June. Given the competition at centre-back and the size of Guardiola's squad, there wasn't room to keep the young Brazilian around this season, and he was sent on loan to City Football Group club Girona. In Spain, Reis has played 7 of Girona's 8 games, missing the fixture with Athletic Club after he was sent off in a 4-0 defeat at home to Levante. Girona have had a tough start to the season, and their 2-1 win against Valencia before the international break was their first of the campaign. Back in Manchester, Guardiola's defensive options could be changing by the end of this season. Manuel Akanji is on loan at Inter Milan, but likely to complete a permanent exit next summer, while Nathan Ake is also expected to move on, either in January or at the end of the season. Ruben Dias and Josko Gvardiol are first choice at the moment, with John Stones as an excellent backup, although the England international is out of contract next summer. Abdulkadir Kusanov is also an option there, but has mostly played at right back this season. If Akanji and Ake go and Kusanov